Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Now, I am totally new to this. Hopefully, I've got some people watching. I know that there was some people queuing to watch. If you would like to, obviously, just give me some kind of thumbs up that you're actually here, or put something in the chat. That would be fabulous, so that I can obviously see that you're here. As I say, I'm completely new to streaming, so anything could go wrong. If it does go wrong, then I do apologise, but what I will do is I'll quickly record the video and upload it so that you can watch it. Now, we're going to go through walk through a paper, because obviously tomorrow is your business exam for Unit 1. And tonight I've selected the January 2023 exam, just so that we have something that we can run through, and so that you can obviously see how to maximise your points tomorrow in your exam. So let's take a look first of all at the first section. So as you know, you will be given your centre number and your candidate number tomorrow. You put your names on here and your date of birth. So as you know, we have 3 sections to the paper, and the first section is multiple choice. The second section is our pre-release information, so you should have done your research for that. And then the third section is an unseen case study, where it requires some long answer responses. So let's have a look first of all at the section A, so the multiple choice. Now, what is really difficult is I am going to do this and put something over here. Oh, hello, I can see someone's put a comment there. I'm going to try and get up the chat as well, so that basically I can kind of see the chat while I'm going. So you will see the chat as well. So I can see that there is people there. So hang on, let me make that like that. As you can tell, me and technology are not the best of friends. Oh my goodness. Right, that's that there. Oh my goodness. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. Right, that's the live stream there. Okay. For some reason, I can't see the chat when I do it like that. But if you do want to put anything in the chat, I think I can see it now. So you should be able to see 2 screens in front of you now. Could I just get you to put a little smiley face in the chat? I'm going to add a smiley face or something in the chat as well, just so I can see that you are there. There you go. I've put a little monster face. You put a little monster face or something in the chat if you can see the chat. If not, do not worry. But it's just that I was going to ask some questions as we go through the multi-plan. Obviously, oh, there you go. There's a nice smiley face. Thank you. A laughing emoji, should I say. So we can sort of test your answers as we go through. Okay, so here we go then. Question 1. Which of the following is an internal source of finance for a sole trader? So if you think you might know the answer to that, can you put either A, B, or C, or D into the chat, please? If you're feeling a bit shy at this stage, don't worry. But if you do want to have an answer and have a guess, then obviously pop it in. Nobody wants to answer. Okay. So just a bit of explanation then. As you know, sole trader is the smallest ownership of business. Therefore, it has also the unlimited liability. So it hasn't got that financial protection if the business was to go bust. So it actually struggles sometimes to actually get finance for this business. So the credit cards, yeah, okay, that's that's okay, but it's not internal, that's an external source. Crowdfunding, again, yeah, that's okay, we could use that, but again, that is external, so it's not that one. And question C, hire purchase, that's if you think about cars, when you get a car, sometimes they're on hire purchase, so you pay sort of monthly for renting your car. And again, that's external, so that is not the answer as well. So the answer on this one is D. Now, what you will find when you go through the multiple choice is sometimes you do have to go through process of elimination. So if you're not 100% sure, then literally work your way down for what you think feels like the right answer. You know, maybe something sticks in your mind that you might remember crowdfunding, and therefore you sort of can take your answer from there and think, right, I definitely know it's not that one, and then you can kind of work your way from there. What I do suggest is you do not leave any of the multiple choice questions blank, and obviously on this side of the paper you can see that we have our boxes over here so that you can obviously put your ticks in to indicate your answer. A lot of students just don't even guess the answer, they will leave the question blank. When really think about it, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting the answer right. So if you don't know the answer, just have a guess. Do not leave anything blank, because we basically say that's not very good exam technique. And when they come to mark the paper, it's just a real shame, because you're going to have like not answered question instead of, you know, wrong, or, you know, even the point, which is what obviously we want to gain points on this. So let's have a look at question 2 then. Which of the following would be classified as a corporate social responsibility activity? So corporate social responsibility is kind of what it says in the name there. So businesses being socially responsible. So when we talk about social, we're talking about people, we're talking about society. So it's acting in a really responsible way to do with society and people. So most businesses, or big businesses now, will have a policy on this to ensure that they're including it as part of their business objectives. So if we have a look at our options here, we have A, buying from local suppliers, B, charging fair prices, C, donating to charity, and D, paying the living minimum wage. So again, it's quite a tricky one, this one, if you're not up on the topic of social responsibility. But as I say, it's about being responsible to people and the society. So again, if you weren't sure, by process of elimination, then you could start whittling those answers down. So buying from local suppliers is definitely not going to be the answer, okay, because that's got nothing to do with being responsible in terms of helping society. Charging fair prices, now that's a confusing one, because basically you would assume that charging fair prices to customers would be quite responsible, but let's face it, that's why they're in business. They're there to obviously make a profit, so it's not really an answer that would make sense. However, we get to C, which is donating a charity. Excellent. I can see in the chat there, Real Media said C, and Blue Knight said C. Absolutely. So yeah, there we go. We've warmed up now. So I'm not going to say anything on the next question. You guys can pop your answers into the chat for question number 3. Paying a living minimum wage. Be careful with that one, because that comes under business ethics. So what we say is businesses that pay the minimum wage or above the minimum wage are acting like ethically and morally responsible. So just, the moral responsible and business ethics is not the same as corporate social responsibility. So if either of those come up, just don't confuse them. I don't want to go too much into both of those because they're quite sort of deep topic for this time of night, but just be aware. Okay, so question 3 then, I'm going to read this out, and you guys now you've warmed up, you can put the answers in the chat. So which of the following functional areas would be responsible for managing the expectations of guests in a large hotel. So as quickly as you can, if you can put your answer into the chat, please. And Alfie, unfortunately, no, we can't do a Kahoot, I'm afraid. It's bad enough with me working this technology, let alone adding a Kahoot on top, I'm afraid. I'm not that good. Okay, thank you, Real Media. And Slenny there has got an answer in. Anyone else want to have a little guess? Okay, any more? Okay, so the functional area responsible for managing expectations of guests. Okay, think about guests in terms of they're your customers, aren't they? Your guests in a hotel. If anyone wants to put an answer, I'll give you sort of 5 more seconds if you want to. Okay, so we've got lots of people saying C, someone saying B there. Okay, Real Media's coming back with customer services there. So the answer is B, customer services, yes. And that's another tip. Think about the business and what they call their customers, because obviously in a shop we call them customers, in a hotel we call them guests, in a restaurant we might call them diners. So just be aware they're still customers, but they might have a different name. Well done for everyone that got that right. Okay, so question 4 there. What is the correct term for an organisation where all the important decisions are, I can't see that there, made at the head office? Okay, so we've got a head office where important decisions are made. What do we call that? Okay, so if you want to put an answer in the chat, then please put an answer in. Okay, so we've got someone going for B there. Okay, B seems favourite at the moment. Excellent. Okay, 5 more seconds because I don't want to literally be here all night. Okay, great. Well done. Okay, it is B. Well done. Centralised. So all of those decisions are made central within that business. Decentralised, obviously, is the opposite. So you might have different sort of satellite offices around the country or around the world. And obviously, by process of elimination, hopefully you would have worked out it definitely wasn't accountable or ethical in that question as well. Alfie, can I give a shout out? Depends who it's to, Alfie. No, he's not typing yet. Right, okay, question 5. Ignoring, I think you actually see, this goes to show how old and useless I am at technology. You have a shout out? Well, hello, Alfie, so there you go. So thank you for everyone, by the way, who is joining. Right, number 5, ignoring all the following stakeholders is most likely to lead to the company being denied planning permission. Ignoring which stakeholders. So remember that stakeholders are all the people that have a vested interest in your business, and they can be internal or external. So if a company is getting planning permission, they're trying to build something, maybe on their site or what have you. So who would actually be interested in whether a business is building? Who's going to take an interest at that, whether it's a good interest or a bad interest. So have a look at the options there. We've got lenders, local government, potential investors, or shareholders. And if you want to put a little answer in the chat to have a guess, then I'll give you sort of 10 seconds to have a little guess. We're doing all right so far, aren't we, with getting the answers right? Which is what we're here for, I have to say. We're here to get it all right so that tomorrow, again, you get it all right. Okay, so we've got a B coming in. Anyone else going different from B? Anyone at all? Or are we all going to go B? Just put like a little emoji or something if you're all going B. Oh, okay, so we've got a C answer there. Alfie, I have no idea what you're talking about there, I'm afraid. What I would say as well, please be careful. I am a teacher. Okay. I am a teacher. Treat me as you treat your own teachers, please. Right, okay, so the answer to number 5 is actually B. So it's the local government. They're going to be most interested because it's the local government that grant the planning permission. Okay, so when businesses apply to build, they have to go to the local council and put in an application. And yes, it would be local government in this particular question here. Okay, question 6. Which of the following would not be included in the resource requirement section of a business plan? Now, business plans, I don't know, in fact, you can tell me in the chat, did you do much teaching or did you have many lessons on business plans when you were doing your lessons with your teachers? Maybe not, because it's actually a very kind of small section in the specification. So yeah, it is a tricky one because teachers don't tend to spend a lot of time talking about the business plan. They might show you one, but because it's a document that can change, and we'd say that you need a business plan to get finance, and it obviously helps you sort of minimise risk. Yeah, there's not a lot to it in the specification, but the answers coming up. Oh, okay, so thank you for that, don't recall any, and that's the problem. So remember, business plan is a physical document that a business will write that sets out the aims and objectives of their business. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So number 6, we've got C, D, D as our answers, and I can tell you, everyone that got D is absolutely correct. Of course, what is your unique selling point? That's what people want to know, because you've hopefully spotted a really brilliant gap in the market for your business, and you're going to write that in your business plan, because the bank will be interested, or your investors will be interested in where you're going with this particular business, and just what your ideas are. Okay, number 7 looks like a big one, this one. So we actually have a bit of data. Hopefully I can get it all on the screen. There we go. So we're going to have a look at this data. Hopefully you can see it clearly. So Tabby's limited cash flow statement for the last 3 months of trading is shown below. According to the cash flow statement, which of the following statements is true? Now, when I teach cash flow, hopefully you've been taught the same, that anything that you see in a bracket, so we've got a couple of numbers on here with brackets, they mean minus. So you'll never see a minus sign. You'll only see the numbers with brackets to indicate that it's minus 230,000. So just bear that in mind. Hopefully you were taught that. Okay, so have a look at the options then. So which of these statements are true? So maybe we'll go through this together, so that basically we can sort of do a process of elimination for anyone that's not hot on cash flow. So Tabby had 50,000 in the bank at the end of November. So let's have a look at the end of November. So here's the closing balance for November. I don't know if you can see my cursor. So there you go, we've got 50,000 in brackets. Therefore, it's absolutely not that answer. Okay, that is false, that answer, because we're looking for a true answer. So B, Tabby Limited made a profit of 170,000 during these 3 months. Okay, so profit. Basically, we're looking at the closing balance again. So we can see in October we've got £180,000. We obviously know that that's minus £50,000 in November. And in December, we see a closing balance of £170,000. Now, some of you might be thinking that that means that, yes, that is a true statement. But it's not a true statement. It's not a true statement because a closing balance of 170,000 is not profit. Remember, we are not touching profit in the cash flow. We're simply looking at the inflows and outflows of the business and what they're paying out and what is coming in. Profit we work out later on. So cash and profit are completely two different things. So it's definitely not B. The next one, Tabby Limited cash inflows exceed cash outflows in November. So Tabby's cash inflows exceed the outflows for November. So let's look. So inflows, we've got £650,000, and then outflows, we've got £880,000. So actually, we had less coming in than we had going out. So that statement is not true as well. So that only leaves by process of elimination D. Tabby Limited's cash flow improved month on month. So yes, if we have a look at the cash inflow, you can see that yes, 600,000 for October, 650 for November, 700,000 for December. So that is the only answer that can be right on this question. Okay, question 8. I'm going to hand it over to you guys. These are the tricky ones because we're looking at law, and I'd like an answer from everyone, please, because I can see there's quite a few people watching now. So a utilities company fails to delete out-of-date customer records. The company appears to have broken which law? So you would have studied all of these laws as part of Unit 1, actually apart from I think C, because that comes into Unit 2, but you may have knowledge if you've done Unit 2 already. So which law? So I can see one answer coming in, so we've got an answer of D. Anyone else? I'm seeing from, can I do another shout out for my friend Nick? So hello Nick. I'm sure he'll be thrilled. Okay, I've got another D. Okay, anyone else? Okay, right, just for time's sake, it is D. It comes under the Data Protection Act. So that's one of the main points of the Data Protection Act, that any out-of-date customer records need to be destroyed, in a way that's accordance with the law. So you'd be shredding your customer documents. Okay, number 9. Which of the following is an example of an inventor? So an inventor is a weird word. We don't really see that a lot in business. We usually talk about entrepreneurs or innovation or creativity. But yes, an inventor is another way of saying those words that I've just said. So again, if you're not sure, process of elimination may help you obviously work this out. But if you want to put an answer in the chat for this one, I'll have an A, B, C or D, please. I'll give you sort of 5-10 seconds. Okay, I've got an A, a B, a C, 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 D. Okay, Pete's changed his name. Changed his answer. Okay, I think I gave you a clue where I talked about entrepreneurs, innovation, creativity. There we go. Okay, A. Okay, Pete's just, I don't know what Pete's doing, but he's not sticking with his answer. You don't know. Okay. Well, Pete, this is where process of elimination will actually help you. So I've talked about creativity, innovation. Which one out of those four talks about something that needs to be created? Okay, what's an entrepreneur? It's a business person that sets up a business, and they've got really brilliant characteristics because they like to take a risk. Okay, right. Okay, so it is a business person, yes, but entrepreneurs we celebrate because they're successful. So think about Elon Musk, let's think about Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos. They have exceptional characteristics that makes them stand out, and they spot these gaps in the markets to create businesses and what have you. Right, the answer to that one is D, so well done. Okay, right. Question 10. Paisley PLC supplies a professional video camera to TV Box Limited. As a supplier, one of Parsley, not Paisley, Parsley PLC's main objectives is to. So for this one, again, think about it's a supplier, so they have supplied products to the business. So that should help you come up with an answer if you're not sure. So if you can put an answer in the chat for me, give me 5 seconds, off you go. It's not Batman, Pete, if that's what you're asking. I have no idea what you talk this lingo, but I don't know anything that you're saying. Okay, I'm old. I tell my students that I am old. Right. Okay. So I've got A, B, and C and D there. So the answer is, for easiness' sake, it's B. So of course, with your suppliers, if they've supplied you with something, they're going to want to be paid as soon as possible. Okay. So number 11. An administrative assistant for bakery makes an urgent call to an electrician to repair a faulty oven. Such strange questions for a business exam, I'm telling you. Which two functional areas of the bakery are working together? So we have the administration assistant making an urgent call to an electrician. What do we reckon the this question has actually done my head in. The fact it is appearing in the business paper, because it's not the most businessy scenario here. But yeah, which two functional areas where would you find an admin assistant and an electrician? So answers in the chat, please. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, thank you. We've got a D in there. Okay, yeah, it is D, so well done. Right, number 12. A supervisor with a wide span of control. What is the answer to this one? So remember, we talk about wide spans of control when we're talking about organisation structures. So can we have an answer in the chat? Give me 5 seconds. Okay, thank you. Got an answer there. Okay, any more? Okay, we've got C's. The answer is C, so well done. Good. Okay, so wide span of control obviously does refer to the number of employees a manager is responsible for. So remember, if you get a diagram with that to count up the number of employees on that organisation chart, that'll tell you what the span of control is for that particular manager. Okay, number 13, the term closing inventory on a company's income statement refers to. So this is a tricky one. Again, it may well be that you haven't spent much time looking at income statements, and I really recommend tonight that you actually have a look at income statements. If you've got some sort of given to you by your teacher or on your Moodle site or what have you, have a look at them, because they can be a little bit tricky depending on how complex the ones that you've been given to look at are. So hopefully the ones that you have got will have this closing inventory on them. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds. If you don't know, just have a guess, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to complete all of multiple choice. So 5 seconds. What are you going to go for? Okay, thank you. We've got a D coming through. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. An A there. Okay, for easiness. Oh, yep, another D there. Okay, D, good. Right, the answer is D. Okay, so it is the value of stock at the end of the trading period. So as I say, if you haven't looked at them as part of your revision tonight, have a look at income statements. Right, number 14. Jamal Botterill, a sole trader, makes lamps. His cost and revenues for 2023 are estimated to be, so we've got fixed cost of 15,000, variable cost £10 per lamp, selling price £35 per lamp. According to the estimates, Jamil Botterill's break-even level output for 2023 will be what? So this is a break-even question. So have a little look at those answers there and put something in the chat for me, please. Okay, if we remember the formula for you on CTEC, because they do it slightly different depending on what qualification you're doing, is fixed cost divided by contribution. For anyone that can't remember the formula. So of course you've got to find your contribution first. So if you remember, we take our selling price and minus our variable cost. So that's going to give us £25 per lamp. And here you go, there you go, for easiness, 15,000 divided by 25. If someone's good at maths, then you should be able to then work out what your break-even point is. And remember, for break-even point, guys, we're not talking about pounds, we're talking about the number of units or products to break even. And if you get a decimal number, then you have to round it up to the next whole number, because you can't sell, for example, 4.29.5 lamps, because you can't cut a lamp in half. Okay, so we've got some answers coming in there. So we've got a D and a C, and I can tell you that the answer, if you've quickly done it on your phone maybe, unless you're really good at maths, it is C, so 600 lamps. So yes, just remember your break-even formula on CTEC is fixed cost divided by contribution. So if this was a written question, you might have to write that formula out, and then obviously you're finding your contribution first, and then obviously dividing that by your fixed cost. Right, okay, number 15. Okay, which task is most likely to be part of the job role of an chief executive of a public limited company? Okay, what I'm going to do after this one is kind of close out the multiple choice section and move on to section B. Otherwise, we will literally be here all night, and I haven't had my dinner yet. So there we go. So, what task is most likely to be? Oh, I've just said that, but be part of the job of the chief executive of a public limited company. So again, by process of elimination, if you don't know what CEO does, then again, you can just kind of work it out from here. Creating income statements sounds very much like something that finance might do. Identifying skills of employees sounds very much like what HR would do, or human resources. Rewriting government legislation, God knows who's doing that. Sounds like the government's going to be doing that. So it has to be B. So deciding long-term future plans of the business. Okay, so are we happy that we know what we're doing on multiple choice? We're not going to leave any gaps at all. We are going to complete every single answer, and even if you're not sure, you're going to have a guess. Yes. Okay, Pete, I don't know how to say your friend's name, but shout out to Pete's friend, okay? Right, let's move on to section B then. Now, how many of you have done your research for the pre-release? Can you just put a yes in the chat if you've done your research? It may well be that you have done my PowerPoint, because quite a few have, or you have found your own businesses, or your teacher's given you some other businesses to look at. So in this section, it's all based on the topics that OCR have given you to revise. So you will see my other YouTube video where I go exactly all through that pre-release and everything you need to know for tomorrow. So if you haven't watched that video, probably that's the one that you need to have a look at after this video. Okay, so obviously this was completely different research themes, but I'm just going to briefly tell you how you answer these, because there is a certain way that OCR like you to write them. So you will have obviously our different research themes, but you're going to put the name of the business in first. So let's just pretend it's Tesco, so write that in. And then activity of the business. You're not actually marked on activity of the business, so therefore you're just going to let the examiner know what the business does in case they don't know. So you could put retail store selling groceries and home goods or something for Tesco's. Now on this particular question, it's fairly straightforward because they've said identify one strength and one weakness, and they've given you a line there and a line there. So have a look out for the identify questions, because they pretty much are straightforward questions where you don't need to do any application, and that then will get you your 2 points. So have a look out for those identify ones. They're a bit like state, so you just kind of give very short answers. Oh, Pete, I didn't see how to say his name. Ski BD. There. Is that all right, Pete? Right, okay. So the next question on here is looking at describing 2 tasks which are part of the job role for marketing assistant. This is where you literally have to start adding detail and thinking about your longer response answers. So you're going to again have your name of your business and what your business does. So let's just say we're doing JD Sports, and it's going to be sports retailer. And then we've got to describe. So when we're describing, we're giving a really good amount of detail about whatever the question is. So a one-word answer, unfortunately, is just not going to work. So if you've watched my other video, you will know that we use the, or I suggest to use the point, explain, example, leading to sort of structure to write the answers. So to get your answers on this one, you also have to put it into context, which means that you have to apply it to the business that you've researched. Now, when we are doing our point, explain, and leading to, you are really looking to bring forward a detail that this specific business does. So it will be things related to the business. So if it is JD Sport, you should be talking about trainers. If it's McDonald's, you'll be talking about fast food. If it's Tesco's, you'll be talking about groceries. Unfortunately, what tends to happen is students tend to just repeat the company name in the answers, and therefore they're not getting the context marks, which are the extra marks that you get. So you're not getting the full points all the time. So on this particular one, if it was JD, we'd be talking about maybe trainers in the first one and tracksuits in the second one, because you don't want to repeat yourself, but it definitely has to be a product or something to do with the industry that the business is in. That's where you're going to get your sort of context marks. So you get 1 mark for your answer and 1 mark for it being in context. And that's where a lot of people lose marks, because they don't put it in context. So the next one, we've got an explain. So on this one, we're doing an advantage and disadvantage. So again, you'll have something similar tomorrow. And again, we've got to put it into context. So again, we've got the name in, the activity. We're going to have an advantage. So we're going to talk about something really good in this particular question. And again, we have to put it into context. So we're going to do our point, explain, example, leading to with that context. So let's just pretend it is McDonald's on this one. So we're talking about fast food in the first one, and the second one might be their drive-through, I don't know, self-service checkouts or what have you. So that is showing the examiner that you absolutely have researched that business and you know what that business does. Or as I say, it would be about the industry. So you could talk about, fast food industry, other restaurants or something like that. Okay, then we have another analyze one. So here we have to say why something is good. So with the analyze, so this is one benefit and drawback again. So we're going to write about a benefit and a drawback, and again we're going to put it into context. Let me just see how many this was for. So this is for 6 marks. So this is the biggest one of the section B. So we are going to do our point, explain, example, leading to, and then 1 drawback. So point, explain, example, leading to. So there's the drawback one. So you're doing basically two of those paragraphs. And again, remember, because it is a business and we have to put it in context so that we get the full 6 marks, we're going to make sure that we talk about the products of the business. Now, one other tip. Let's just say that you have a business called Bert's Crisps Limited, because that is an actual business. If you then mention crisps in your context, that is not context, because it already appears in the company name. So just be really, really careful to not repeat a word that's in the company name, because you won't get the points for applying it to the business. Okay, so it's a good tip there, because I can see that quite a lot with my students, or have done. So as I say, you'll just do those point, explain, example, leading to paragraphs, making sure that the impact also is business facing. So when you look at any of the analyze questions, it's making sure that it is a leading to that's going to impact the business. So what we tend to say is, does it lead to more sales, more profit, more revenue, more customers, more market share, better reputation? So you're going to go down those routes with why it's good and what it leads to, and then obviously flip it round. When you're doing a drawback, what is it going to lead to from a negative point of view? So less sales, less revenue, less profit, bad market share, bad customer reputation, lots of customers. Okay, so just be careful with which way round you're talking about, but the impacts pretty much are, generally out of those ones I've said, but you're just applying it to whatever the question is. And then there's another describe one here, which is for 4 marks, and again, exactly the same as what we have done before. So describe is really getting out a good amount of detail. You're going to still use the point, explain, example, leading to, and put it into context by mentioning the company product within your answer. Now remember, as I say, your research section is completely different. This year's themes are in a separate PowerPoint if you want to go back and have a look at that in my playlist. And here we go then. This is the big one. I don't even know if I can fit it on the screen altogether. Let's see if I can make it slightly smaller now. There we go. So this is the third section now. And this is the big case study that you obviously will get a different one tomorrow. And what I say to my students is you absolutely have to go through this case study and underline or highlight the most important information, particularly the numbers. So we have, obviously I can't point it out on here with a highlighter, but we've got £3,000 there, ages 25 to 49. The company was set up in 2002. 5-year bank loan, 25-year mortgage, 65% production, etc., etc. So all of those numbers, absolutely, you may be able to use to apply in your answers. And again, it shows the examiner that you know what you're talking about and you've read the case study. Obviously, anything else you need to obviously be aware of is what is happening with this business. Now, I can tell you for CTEC that they tend to focus on there's a problem. Okay, so that's what they're painting here. We've got a business that's selling whatever product they're selling, and they're facing some kind of problem. And you are then obviously here to kind of solve their problem, a bit like a business consultant. So we then have, we've got a bit more down here as well. So we then have the questions relating to the case study. So it's a case of, looking at how many points. So for example, for this first question, it's identify again. So we'll be looking for really short answers, but 4 of them. So remember those identify ones, you don't need to put into context at all. You're just going to write your straight answer. That's absolutely fine. Then we have our big 12 marker. Now again, I've done a video on how to answer the 12 markers. They're slightly different because you're going to do basically I think it's 3 paragraphs, if I remember off the top of my head. Let me just find my notes. Bear with me 1 second. 4, 12. Right, let me just have a look here. So, we're going to do 4 paragraphs. So what we do is we do our point, explain, example, and then we bring it all together for a conclusion with our leading to. But as I say, have a look at my other video on how to answer a 12 marker. But what I really recommend as a tip is that you set out your paragraphs as separate paragraphs, because it makes it so much easier for the examiner to find everything they need to mark in your particular question. Now, the idea of the 12 markers is that they're taking you up the sort of study skills. You might have heard your teacher talking about a level 1 answer, a level 2 answer, a level 3 answer, and a level 4 answer. A level 4 answer is your highest marks that you can get, and that will be for 10, 11, and 12 marks. So that's going to be when you're doing your evaluation, which is paragraph 4. If you are only writing a little bit of information, let's just say you do 1 paragraph, you're probably only going to get a level 1 in terms of your score, which a level 1 response you can get, I think it's up to about 3 points, something like that. A level 2 response can get you, I think, up to about, 6 or 6 points. 4 to 6 points. A level 3 response will get you 7 to 9, and as I say, the level 4 is 10 to 12. What we're looking for is that you're doing the point, explain, example, and you are taking that answer through to a level 3. So you're going to be, for example, answering the question. So I'll just read this out in terms of this mark scheme. So one of the bits here is the reputation of First Class Luggage Limited in and around Abberton is likely to be damaged. So that's the sort of answer from the student. Now, what they have then gone on to say is this may lead to 3 shareholders becoming stressed. So what they've done is they've done an impact for the shareholders. and it could be shareholders, it could be customers, depending on the question, but you're talking about what is the immediate impact. Well, it's going to be to the shareholders in this case, and then you do the impact for the business. So then what does it then lead to for the business? So we're then getting up to our level 3 response by basically saying it will then lead to the business having negative publicity and a bad reputation, or something along those lines. Now, if you can get your answer up to, so if you did 2 paragraphs where you were able to give the impact to a customer and then the impact to the business, you automatically will be marked at a level 3 answer, which is really handy to know, because a level 3 answer, as I say, is worth 7 to 9 marks. Then in your evaluation, you are then putting it into context, so again adding something that's from the case study to apply your answer, and you're then saying why you think this is the right way to go, or this is the advantage or the disadvantage. And also you might make a comparison, so you might say, well, here's the advantages, but actually the disadvantages will also mean this. So what we say is that you're kind of looking at both sides, but saying why you're discounting the other one. That's what will give you the 12 marks. It's very difficult to get 12 marks on these big questions. 11 marks is pretty solid if you're going for the 11 markers. So that's your 12 marker there, and then as you've got a couple of pages to write on there. And just be aware as well that you're going to also apply the rest of the questions to that case study. So here I want you to talk about the variable costs. So again, you talk about what is variable cost from that table on the case study and apply it to that business. And then again, what is the fixed cost? So again, you might say fixed cost is cost that is fixed and doesn't change with output, for example, and then bring something through from that case study. So you will see similar things tomorrow, and just got to remember to apply it. And then we have another 12 marker here, exactly the same as what I've just gone through. If you can get 2 paragraphs up to a level 3, which means your point, explain, example, leading to, and you can link it to the impact to the customer or stakeholders, and then link it to the business, you're going to be basically on for at least 9 marks, and then your evaluation will hopefully get you into the 10, 11 sort of scenario there. And then we have a table here where we've got to fill out some economic factors by the looks of it on our own. We've got to add up, I think, some monthly output of small suitcases. So again, similar to giving you an extra bit of information there, and you need to work out whether they've actually performed better or worse than their objectives, which again, if we were reading and doing this in detail, it would be fairly obvious. And then we've got to put some variable costs in as well. And remember, the finance side, that's what students find the most difficult in this paper. So make sure tonight that you go over variable costs, fixed costs, total costs, break even, cash flow, your income statements. There's another one, statement of, I want to say balance sheet, but I can't remember the name of it now. But all of those finance bits that your teacher went over, please go back and look at those. And then the last 12 marker is where you're analysing 3 economic factors. So you would be expected to do 3 paragraphs, so 3 economic factors. So again, similarly to the other questions, you're going to just work them through using your point, explain, example, leading to, point, explain, example, leading to, point, explain, example, leading to, and then a conclusion with a justification with context as well. What I say to students, if you're not sure like where to apply it and put it in context for these answers, then simply put it in every question. Just bring forward a word from the case study that's to do with their product or their industry or a number or something like that. Because it's a real shame to lose points when you could have just quoted something simply that's written down. You don't have to think too much about the actual thing. It's there. Just bring it forward and put it in. So that seems like a mammoth video in terms of going through. Is there any questions in the chat? Because I haven't been looking in the chat, but is there any questions that people want to ask finally for the last few minutes in terms of anything they need to know for the exam tomorrow? And I'm not talking about GCSE, I'm talking about CTEC Level 3, the Cambridge Technicals, because it is GCSE Business tomorrow for other students. Okay, no more shout outs, okay? I have no idea whoever said that. Kian, no idea. Yes, absolutely, Lara. Expect. That's why you're allowed to take a calculator in, because there is definitely going to be some maths questions and some finance questions. So it might be worth tonight just having a practice, as I say, with your break even, your fixed costs, variable costs, adding up your total costs, and obviously working out sort of profit and things like that as well, sort of gross profit. Okay, any more sensible questions? Okay, are we all confident for the CTEC exam tomorrow? Thank you, Lara. Okay, Real Media, please, please, please go and have a look at my other videos, because I break down how to structure the paragraphs, okay? I tend to use point, explain, example, leading to as a simple structure for students to use, but it slightly changes with some of the 12 markers. So please go and have a look at my other video, and hopefully that should help. I think the other video is about 15 minutes, so it won't take you long just to have a look at that. Please don't end the stream. I haven't had my dinner yet, guys. I need to go and have my dinner. Please, I need help. Okay, Blue Knight, you're going to be fine. You need to have some confidence, okay? What you've got to remember is when this is marked, they will try and mark it as positively as possible, meaning they will find, the answers as best they can so that you get some good points. But what I will say to you all is write like you've never written before, like write that your fingers are going to fall off after your 90 minutes. Okay, so don't leave any spaces on the paper, just keep writing, because it doesn't do any harm. And at the end of the day, guys, if you're sitting this CTEC Level 3 Cambridge Technical, you can resit it, can't you? So if you don't do so well, then you can always resit it. So just speak to your teacher once you get your results through. So the results will come through in August. And if you're not too happy with your mark, at least you guys do get a chance to resit. Do you think they will mark harsh those years? No. Right. So Lara, the grade boundaries really haven't changed. They mark as they mark. So what they tend to do is look at like everyone who sat the exam, and then they find like a standard. So it's more based on across the country on that day. If there's if everyone's doing really well, then yes, they lower the boundaries. But if everyone's really struggled, then they obviously, they put them up and down depending on how people have done. I literally want your fingers to fall off after this exam. That means that you have written till, you can't write no more. And be aware of the time, guys. I have seen students sit this exam and they haven't left enough time for the questions, the 12 marker at the end, which is a shame. So just keep an eye on the time so you don't run out. Okay, what is a distinction? A distinction is a grading system. So on this particular qualification, it goes near pass, pass, merit, distinction. So distinction is like getting a grade A. What's the best business in 2024? In terms of performance, do you mean, Blue Knight? Or just my favourite business? Mark for distinction. Again, I wouldn't know the mark for distinction until obviously the paper's sat. But what will happen, Kian, is your teacher will get the grade boundaries from OCR, and then they can let you know what the boundary was. And what you can do is, if you are 1 mark away from the boundary, you can ask your teacher if you can have your paper remarked. And sometimes when they get remarked, if it's like 1 mark off, then you can sort of go up a grade. Like the mark for it, yeah. I don't know what it's going to be until they sort of set it, unfortunately, what it will be. Can I get into University of Oxford with 3.5 UCAS points? I have no idea, I'm afraid. I'm not into UCAS points and what their values are at the moment. But what I can tell you is you're probably looking at 3 A's, Hussein. Is it Hasnain? I don't know how to say your name, I do apologise. You're looking at probably about 3 A's to get into Oxford, which would be, I don't know if they accept Cambridge technicals. You'd have to have a look. It might have to be straight A levels. If they do, then they do, but you'd be looking at an overall distinction star for your whole CTEC qualification as one of your sort of A's to get in. All right, okay. I am literally going to end it now, guys, because it's been an hour and you all now need to go off and dot the I's and cross the T's and do your final bits of revision. Have a look at my how to answer the 12 marker video, see if that will help you. And if you haven't done your research, then have a look at the research video that I've done as well. But I really do wish you the best of luck for tomorrow. I absolutely would love people to come back and tell me what grades they got once you know as well. And if you are resitting it at any point, then please come back to the channel, because I'll have the next video for the January exams. So that will be the next time you can sit this at college or school. Right, so that's it then, guys. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I'll speak to you soon.